There we go. The recording has started. So we are getting very, very close. 3 days left, including today. Like I said, that last day has been recorded. The recording is out there. You can't put in that last day's attendance, though, until Thursday. That happens shortly after midnight. That assignment will be open, so you will have that last full day to get everything done. You do not have to wait until the last day to do the final exam. I've had at least one student complete that final exam already and did extremely well. So it's not that scary. Like I said, there is an study guide out there that has everything you need on it. So let's go ahead and get to getting here. You'll notice that the lectures will be getting a little bit shorter today and tomorrow because a lot of it is repetitive as we go through the assignments. So here we are, should be down up to here. I will be dropping, or down through here, I will be dropping zeros as we go through. This will let you see exactly where you are currently. So anything that was listed on Monday, those will get zeros today. After today, tomorrow morning, I'll be dropping zeros in on this assignment, etc. That way you will have a current listing all the way through. And then Thursday, anything above this will have zeros if you have not completed it. All right. Anything that has a form on it, if you're not using that form or mimicking the form, you're going to lose points on it. Okay. Instructions are very much an important part of every career. And if you're given directions, instructions, and told to use something, you need to utilize that. Okay. These aren't suggestions, these are requirements. Requirements are exactly that. So please, if you're told to use something, use it or mimic it. Don't just freeform it and think, oh, people don't read these, people don't look at these. Yes, they do. And you are graded accordingly. All right. So here we are on Tuesday. You have your soft skills, leadership in action. This one here is where you go in, watch the scenarios, give your direction on how you would handle the situation. Tomorrow, you get the results. If you haven't looked at it, has anybody looked at the results back from Career Services? You actually looked at the sheets to see what you were actually checked off on and graded on, so you can see what they were actually looking for. These are things that actually happen in an interview. You may not see them doing these things, but these are things that people are actually watching and looking for. So pay attention when you're going into interviews, things that you do. Don't fidget, make sure that your feet are on the floor. One thing that is a disturbing trend, I mentioned this, people go in with this attitude, this ego that I'm going to be super casual, like I'm going to be their friend. It's like, yeah, this is me, this is, and they're putting this in their resumes, they're putting this in their cover letters. I'm this and this and that. No, that's very disrespectful. You're not making it past the first cut, okay? When I'm reading resumes for different companies, we are kicking out about 75% of these uh, different resumes, cover letters, etc., because people are following these trends that they're seeing on TikTok, etc., where they think that they can write these like they're texting people or they're their best friends. That's great for everybody else who's applying. You will be eliminated immediately. These are not your best friends. Be respectful of them so they'll be respectful of you. Don't follow this. These things are bad. People are using them for clickbait. I don't know how to tell you this. Um, People who are telling you you don't need to do this, you don't need to do this to get ahead, ask them then, why aren't you further along than I am? Okay? Facts are facts. If you have the secret to getting rich so quick, why are you still in my neighborhood? Ask them to explain, and they can't. There's a reason why these tried and true methods are out here. Careers take work, okay? So please do that. You aced those interviews. Be proud of that. I want you to know the work you do can be great, but you have to put forth the effort. If you don't put forth the effort, you're going to get back the results based on the amount you put into it. So keep doing the great stuff that you do. And if you're not really putting forth the effort, you think you're pulling one over on me? No, I may not have put it always in the grade, but sometimes life is a lesson, and maybe you need to learn that lesson in reality at the same time. All right. So those interviews, check to see what they were marking you on. That kind of gives you an idea what mentally goes on in an interview. The Q&A informational project, these are the results back from where you talk to people who had a bit of authority. The one or two that I've received back have been really, really good. Okay. I want you to also realize the people that are in your classes, there are also your competitors for the same positions you are going for. So if they're putting forth more effort, they will beat you out for the positions you are applying for. Your best friends, when they go into that interview, they are going to beat you out for the same job that you're applying for. So I want you to think about that. If you both apply for that same job, one's going to win, one's not. Are you better than your best friend? Are you going to blow that interview for them? Think about that because they're not going to blow it so you get the job. We got the live conferences and then this career plan final project. Put forth the effort. There is a template. Either fill this template out, turn it back in. You can write on it, take a picture of it, or you can duplicate it, okay? Do one or the other. Do the start assignment. You can upload the file back, or you can do text entry and duplicate the form here, okay? It's a big point project. We expect effort, meaning the school expects effort on this, okay? That final exam, again, don't go into it until you're ready to take it. And this is 10% of your overall grade, all right? These chapters to help you out, once again, I'm going to reiterate this. It's under the help button here, right there, final study guide. If you prefer to go into the modules, you don't like using the pictures here, right here, there's help. Click on help, boom, takes you to the same screen, okay? All right, everybody good so far? I see everybody's logged in. We ready to roll? Yes, yes? Yep, 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 yep. I always have one person who logs in who doesn't respond. Logging in is great, but if you're not participating and you're not paying attention, kind of not getting it. All right. So we will head on over to the iPad here. Let me get my handy dandy pencil. There we go, starting your career. And again, I know these chapters all sound the same. I wish they would come up with a better way of naming them. Draw my little smiley face. Yay. And away we go. So we're going to talk about professionalism. This is key. You hear professionalism, but what is it? Professionalism should be going on in your classroom even. Okay, some people are not exercising professionalism, and we need to talk about multi-generational and multicultural workplaces and actions that ensure a successful careers. Successful careers don't happen. You make them happen. Okay, they don't just happen upon you. And you're going to have people that go through these schools, including ours. They do the same thing in the classrooms that you do, but their careers are not going to be successful. Why? Because they don't follow what they learned in the school. They get out there and they think that I'm just going to do this and I'm going to do whatever I want. But because I have this certification or I have this degree, I'm going to get this and this and this and this. And the answer is wrong. You need to put work into this. You have to take what you learned and put it into action. And if you think you're going to go out there and just demand stuff because your career is in demand, let me tell you, you've got another thing coming. Just because your career is in demand does not mean they have to take poor quality workers. They don't have to take workers with attitude. They don't have to take workers with ego. There is a difference between a worker that knows what they know and knows how to apply it, knows how to work with people, and knows how to treat the company as well as the company treats them. You don't get what you want just because the position is in demand. They will leave that position empty rather than put up with your unreasonable demands. So, professional is a soft skill. It is actually a skill, and it's judgment, character, and behavior that's expected of a person, meaning you who is trained for a given job. Okay, so let's talk about that. You have to have good judgment. You need to know what to do on the job, when to do it. And behavior, that means keeping that temper in check. That means treating your coworkers with respect. That means being on time every time. That means completing your work with the level that's expected, not rushing at the very last minute because you goofed off the entire time. Okay? That professionalism should have started in school and continues on. Okay? That is professionalism. It includes your workplace skills and self management skills. Okay? Your workplace skills. Let's talk about those. Those are your basic skills. That's your reading, that's your writing, that's your thinking skills, your people skills, your self-management skills. Let's talk about those. That's the an ability that allows you to control your personal habits, making sure that you manage your time. Because in your career, they're not going to tell you, I need you to do this, now do this, now do this, now do this. They're going to give you a whole list of tasks, and you need to organize yourself and manage your time. Because at the end of the day, your work stays and waits for you. It doesn't just get passed to the next person. You have to do your work when you come back. And if I give you a list of 4 things to be done in 3 hours, and I come back in a half hour and you haven't done any of them, or maybe you've only done 1 of them, I might think, "You can't handle this," and I'm gonna take those things away from you and give them to somebody else. And you know what? I might send you home and I might not bring you back. You need to learn to manage yourself, okay? Self-management skills are skills that enable an individual to control personal habits and make the best use of one's time and ability. Punctuality, dependability. I need to know you can do what you say you can do. I got to be able to depend on you. And that includes your time management. I can't have you rushing at the last minute and risking quality because you didn't plan your time. Emotional regulation. You can't be flying off the handle at people because they're asking you, are you close to finishing? Where's this? Where's that? You need to control yourself. You can't be bringing your baggage to work either. You having a bad day at home? Too bad. It's a great day at work every day, all day. So, punctuality, being late or unexpectedly absent is inconsiderate and not tolerated. Boom. your coworkers have to do your work and they are not going to like it. And eventually they're going to dislike you to the point they want something done about it. Now, life does happen, but if it's happening over and over and over, you need to fix that. Okay? This is reality. You notice the tone is changing because you need to get out there and start working. You need to start doing your career. So this is now becoming more work, work, work oriented. Now, your dependability, this is your reliability and your trustworthiness. Always be honest. Okay? Even if you mess up, be honest about it because if someone approaches you, chances are they have the answer. They want to see if you're going to give the right answer back. And it's got to be fixed. I've messed up really bad before at work and I've had to eat that crow. Okay? How many people have messed up bad at work, but they owned up to it? Anybody? I know I have. Yeah. Own up to it and it gets corrected. It's much better than trying to hide it. How many people have seen people try to hide what they messed up and it got really, really bad for them? Yeah. Yeah, don't do that. Your word and your integrity means everything. Always be as honest as you can because even when it's bad, it's better than being dishonest, okay? Carry your fair share of workload, okay? Help other people out. But if somebody keeps dumping and dumping and dumping, stop them. Say, no, I cannot do my work and your work too. You need to do your own work. Just stop them. Tell them outright. And best if there's another person there. Stop them in front of somebody so there's a witness. Okay? Call them on it. Even if it's your friend, call them on it because what's going to happen is your work quality is going to suffer. And that person will not, I guarantee you, will not step up and say, that happened because they were doing my work. You are your own business. Okay? Protect your business. Okay. Now, for time management, work smarter, not harder. So prioritize your task in order of importance and which ones need to be completed first. Now, I'll tell you, sometimes I go against this. You have to work the way you have to work, but sometimes you want to do those quick items so you have a win. How many people like to knock really quick things off their list so that you have something done? Makes you feel good. Yeah, if that's the way you work, work like that. These things here are kind of like as a guide, but it's not written in stone. So sometimes I'll do it in order of importance, but I'll do a quick thing in between. Look at what's going on around you and throw things in and out that fit your style of work. Sometimes you need those little wins in there to keep yourself going. But if you're unsure, ask somebody, okay? Right here, this is key. This one, the difference between average and excellent, not how hard they work, but how they prioritize. By changing the order in which you do things in, will often matter in the long run by how much you can get done. Just by changing the order, you're doing the same items, but it motivates you and you get them done quicker. Okay? Now, this one here, this is really sad. People who don't know how to control their emotion often lose their jobs. This can be they come to work upset. They come to work constantly crying. They get too upset when someone tells them, you need to do this instead of that. They don't accept, constructive criticism. They get mad. Whatever it is, if you can't control your emotions, a lot of times people lose their jobs. Now, sometimes people need help, and this is an okay thing. It's not a bad thing. If you need help, Go to a professional. That's what they're there for. And a lot of companies offer this free of charge. If you think you need it, chances are you do. Go talk to someone. It's not a bad thing. It is a thing. A lot of stuff has happened based on your age in a short period. We have had school shootings. We have had a pandemic. We have had civil unrest across the country. We have had a lot of things, and that does not include anything that may have happened to you personally. If you need emotional support or you need professional help, please, I can't emphasize that enough, go help. Go get help. There's a lot of free services, and sometimes talking to someone who is not related to you or not a relative, not a friend, is a great place to get that off your chest, okay? Now, most of us work in a multi-generational workplace. Generations, a group of people in the same time period. And multi-generational just means that we're all in different time periods. Now, the most common ones you've probably heard of: baby boomers, boomers, Gen X, Gen Y. These are the millennials. So if you hear millennials, those are Gen Y and Gen Z. Now, there is another one, but it's not typically listed, and these are called the silent generation. Yeah, there is one more. There's actually 5 of them. Okay. But the test is going to have 5. Your book says 4, but the test says 5. Okay. So let's talk about these. The silent generation, because you're going to need to know these for the test, different ones. Okay. These people, 1920 to 1939, yeah, they're antiques. Okay. 2% of the workforce, they are still out there. Even though they're still working in part-time roles, these people value tradition and history, and they believe in hard work. Boom. That's it. They believe in hard work. Okay. Now the boomers come along. 1944 to 1964. They were ambitious and goal oriented. They had a strong work ethic. They wanted to make a difference. They have valued their relationships, hardworking, disciplined, and independent. They gave themselves to the company. Okay. You are devoted to your company. How many people knew or know people like this? Born in that time period. You give it all to the company that you work for. Yeah, that's the way it was. Now, this is my gen. Okay. Gen X. Now, there was a lot of change during the 60s through the 80s. We had Woodstock, we had Farm Aid, we changed a lot, okay? A lot of social, economic, technological changes. Home computers came into the houses in the early 80s. That's how long computers have been in homes, okay? Practical, resourceful, independent. We wanted to come out and conquer. We were the first ones who said, we're not giving everything to the companies. We want work-life balance. We were self-sufficient, adaptable, and pragmatic. That means, you know what? We're going to research everything. We're not just going to listen to what you've told us over and over. This is where change started to happen. We started movements. Then came Gen Y. Any Gen Ys out here? Anybody born between 81 and 96? Was anybody a Gen X? Okay, Kyle was a Gen X. All right. We have the best music. Yay. Okay, so Gen Ys, tech savvy, always look for ways to be efficient. They flexibility, personal growth, social responsibility. They are more social and environmentally bound. Okay, Gen Y, that's what they wanted. Gen Z. So everybody else, Gen Z, born after 96? Y'all Gen Z? Yes? Okay, so Gen Z, digital natives, computers were always around. No excuse to not be efficient on computers. They were here before you. Okay. You prioritize technology and accessibility. You want to be able to go click, click, click. You're highly adaptable to new technologies. You want the latest and greatest. You're open to diversity. You don't care who, what, or why anybody does as long as it doesn't interfere with you. You want your life your way anyway. Y'all want to do your own thing. You want to be your own boss. Sound like y'all so far? Kind of yes, kind of no? You want social justice. You want everybody to be treated equally. You want a fair deal for all of y'all. Everybody should be treated fairly. And you're a little more creative. Now, multicultural. This is a little bit different. Your organizational work environment has individuals from all kinds of backgrounds, cultures, and identities. Okay. How many people work with people from all kinds of cultures and identities? Most of us do, right? Our work environments are not one type. This requires what we call cultural competence. That's the ability to understand, communicate, and interact and collaborate. That means you need to be able to work with people from all kinds of backgrounds. You need to be respectful, open minded, and communicative. You have to embrace diversity and build relationships. What that means is you need to be able to work with people and treat them the same on the job. Your personal feelings outside of work, that does not matter. On the job, everybody is the same. If it's not, you have an issue you need to fix. On the job, an employee is an employee. Does everybody understand that? Employees are employees on the job, period. Now, we work in a right to work state. Okay. In Florida, you can be doing your job perfect, and your supervisor comes up and says, "You're fired, go home." No warning whatsoever. How many people know that? They do not have to give you a reason, warning, or anything. In the state of Florida, they can fire you for no reason whatsoever. Is everybody aware of that? Okay. They can fire you in the state of Florida, no reason, no warning whatsoever. Now, how many people have to sign for a policy and procedures or an employee handbook? You've had to sign those. Anybody ever have to sign one of those when you do a new hire? Yes. Okay. Now, I'll admit, I don't read those. I hate those. They're like boring, they're very long, blah, blah, blah. But those can be a lifesaver in states like Florida because your company policy and procedures, that's a written contract. Okay. And your company has to follow that. You do too. Okay. And your written contract in that says that they may have to give you a verbal warning, then a written warning, and then a suspension before they terminate you. If your company has that, that overrides Florida's right to work. So they can't just walk up and fire you without any notice. They have to give you a verbal warning and let you know what you're doing. Then they have to do a written warning and let you know what you're doing. Then they have to suspend you. Then they have to terminate you, depending on what is written in that contract. So if you take a job, check to see what the discipline and what the termination policies are for your company because they have to follow that. And that supersedes or goes over the state of Florida. Okay. Does everybody understand that your company policy overrides the state of Florida? Because that is a contract. Your contracts that you sign at hiring, those override the state. Those can be very important once you are hired. So check those employee handbooks. They can be your blessing in case you get an abusive supervisor. Okay? And this is important if you become a supervisor yourself. You need to know the policies. You're going to spend a lot of time at work. So you need to make sure that you are in charge. Continue personal development. If you're given an opportunity to take further certifications, learn new techniques, do that. Always network, network, network. Have realistic expectations. Know where your career goes. And if you see opportunities in other locations, meaning other companies, other departments, think what you should do. Think of the pros and the cons. What's the benefit of switching versus staying? Sometimes you go into a company and you get new training, new training, new training, and you're going to get hour or yearly increases. But if you take that new training and go to another company, the experience you have will actually gain you many, many years salary increase starting there versus staying at the company you are at. So understand when it's best to stay versus go, and respect your money. I know this sounds silly, but don't spend everything you earn. Start saving as soon as possible because that little bit, even if it's small, here, by time you get to here, will be here. People think you have to put hundreds of dollars away each month. You don't. If you can only put a little bit is better than none. And increase it whenever you can. Okay. And many of the companies will do dollar for dollar match. So if you can only put in $20 a paycheck, your company matches it. That's $40 a paycheck. Multiply that times 52 over years, you'll see where that money goes. And this sounds really strange. Be a good employee. Be a professional. Meet or exceed job performances. Don't look for what's the least I can do. How many people know this? They look for the least amount of work they can do. We've seen them. They look for the littlest amount of work they can do, and they will be the first ones to go whenever there's an issue and they have to downsize for any reason. Be positive. You wanted this career for whatever reason, permanent, partial time, whatever. You wanted this. You got what you wanted. Communicate. Nobody will know what you want, what you need, if you're not communicating in some form. Be dependable and reliable. Open to feedback. Some people think feedback's bad, but how do you learn and improve? Take initiative. Don't just wait for things to happen. Make it happen. Now, you'll know your career is starting to become successful because you're going to feel fulfilled. You're going to feel like you're accomplishing something. You're going to start to see that you're moving ahead. You're going to have people who respect you in that field, and you're going to feel like you've done something. The other thing is this flexibility. The better you are in your career, the more opportunities you will have. This is why you want extra trainings, things like that. Not, will it get me more money? The more you learn, the more skills you have, more opportunities, more chance of financial growth and personal growth. Not only will you feel better, but you will have better life opportunities. You will be able to say, I only want to work these days, these times, and spend more time where you want. Does everybody see how your career is going to shape out. You're starting to see that future. That future is going to be better the more you put into it. And as you move into it, you're going to have a much easier time further down. So now I want you to think about where you want to work, the company you want to work for, where you think you want to be. And I want you to look at that company in your career field. I want you to name, whoops, let me go back there. I want you to name 3 specific details about the company, not a job listing, about the company. I want you to go to that company's website, find 3 details about the company. Bring that back. Include the name of the company. I need to know the name of the company. But I want you to tell 3 details about that company. That's the company research. Things you find out about them. Because this is someplace you would like to work. Doesn't matter why, but why, just go there, research them, and bring that back. This is something you should do before an interview. Research the company because you want to work there. When you go into that interview, you need to know something about them. All right. So after today, you have 2 more days, 1 regular day of lecture, 1 mini day of lecture, and you'll be on your way. Please try to wrap everything up so that you have everything completed on time. I appreciate everything you're doing, all the responses that you're giving in the assignments. And that is it for today. We will see you tomorrow for your last fully live lecture.